At the beginning of the year, people are wanting to start afresh. They're making resolutions. They're saying it's another year. Things have to be different. The pains of last year shouldn't repeat itself this year. We need growth. We need progress. So the tendency is for things to be rushed. People want to terminate what has not been working for them, what has not been helping them, and people are in a rush. And sometimes people make permanent decisions on temporary pain or fixable pain. Fixable things are thrown into the dustbin. And when it comes to relationship, a relationship is not like a TV. You know, you throw it away and then walk into the shop and buy a new one. We're talking about, it is not that simple. We're talking about people's lives. We're talking about people's emotions. We're talking about destinies. We're talking about vows that were made saying forever together till death do us part and so on. So we are saying this morning that we should not be in a hurry to throw things away, to bury what could be healed. You know, when we get sick, all of us, when something is not feeling right in our bodies, we don't quickly buy a coffin and just lie in it and bury ourselves. No, we don't do that. We seek out help from the doctors. We go to the hospital. Even when the doctors tell us that things are not looking good, we still believe, we still hope, we still pray, we still trust God until, even when they tell you that it's a terminal case, there's nothing they can do, you still believe until the last breath. Nobody quickly rolls anybody over and put in a coffin and just wait for them to die in the coffin. No, we do what we can and believe for healing and restoration. And the question we asked this morning is, why don't we do the same for our relationships? Why are we in a hurry to throw things away? Why are we in a hurry to end it? Why are we in a hurry to chase this person away or walk away from this person? Have we explored everything necessary to try and fix it? Is it completely unfixable? If you think it's unfixable, do the experts think it's unfixable? You know, but sometimes we become experts in areas where we are actually not trained, where we actually don't know what works. It's like having a headache and then you just completely tell yourself, no, it's a terminal condition. I just have three weeks to live. Who told you that? Did any doctor confirm that to you? No, we don't do that when it comes to our bodies. But when it comes to relationships, we become experts. So we want to really change that narrative in 2026 as we start the year. We're saying, give your relationship a chance. Do you know if this relationship is survivable or not? Do you know if it's fixable or not? Do you know if there's hope or not? Don't just make rushed decisions based on your level of knowledge in an area where you have actually not been very trained. So that's my response to that question. Things can be fixed, things can be repaired. Let's talk about long distance relationships. Things have really changed, you know, because technology has made it possible for two people to be in one room, yet geographically, one is in Europe, the other one is in Johannesburg. Technology makes it possible for us to communicate. So the whole thing about long distance relationship is not the way it used to be 30, 40 years ago when you wrote letters and waited for someone to read your letter, and it takes 3 weeks or 4 weeks for them to get the letter, and then they reply, and it takes another 3-4 weeks for you to know. Things have changed. What I'm simply saying is that if some people are in what is called, or what was called, long distance relationship, there are no distances anymore. You can just open your phone and talk. So if the relationship is not working, it's not the distance that's the problem. It's their hearts that are not connecting. That's the point. Their hearts are not connecting. They are not communicating. They are not reaching each other. They're not hearing what the other person is saying. Because in this day and age, you can put on your video and have a video call with this person as many times a day as you want. In fact, the communication can be so intense that you don't even know that you are thousands of kilometers apart. So it's not the distance that's the problem. The physical distance is the distance of their hearts. Their hearts have become distant to each other. And why is the heart distant to each other? They are not making the effort to communicate and communicate well. They're not having those difficult conversations that need to be had so that the elephant in the room can be confronted, that issues can be resolved. I'm saying that now in our day and in our age, hearts shouldn't be far. If people understand how relationships work, if we are not talking, even if we are living in the same room, we are living in the same house. If we are not talking, we are not communicating, we are not resolving conflicts, we are not fixing things that are building resentment inside of us, we can live in the same house and still be having long distance between our hearts. And it happens all the time. There are many people who are living in the same house and they are so far away from each other. Nobody knows what is going on in the other person's lives, because communication has broken down, resentment have built walls, bitterness has brought demons into the house, and all kinds of things are happening. These are things that ought not to be so. If people understood how relationships work and they had the wisdom, the humility, and the grace to, offer forgiveness, allow hurts to be healed, make necessary adjustments so that the relationship can thrive. Toxicity doesn't have to be part of what you live with every day. You can get rid of toxicity in your relationship. We can discuss things. And if we are talking and we are not getting help, then can we reach experts? Can we reach professionals and say, please help us? We are suffocating in this thing. It's not working for us.
This Friday is going to be our first live event where people can actually gather and we can then begin to address some of those questions. But this Friday is much more than for people who are having issues in their relationships. Starting the year right, like we've rightly said, people are resetting. They're trying to see, how can I do things better? They're saying, what can I do? But we find out that sometimes you actually have a desire to do a few things differently in the new year, but you don't have the tools. You actually don't know what to do. The desire is there, but you don't have the tools on how then do I try change from what it was before to what I really desire in my relationship. We have our desires, we have it, but how do I then begin to do it? So this Friday is much more for everyone, and I'm going to try and break it down for us. We are targeting married people, and I'll explain who we are looking for, who is married, and we are also targeting singles. Let me even start with singles. Singles we want to do your relationships right. Some are already in a relationship, some are believing to get into a relationship. But what are the things you need to be able to look out for? How does this year actually be different for you in your relationship? What do you need to know? Those are the things we're going to be unpacking this Friday. So it's very important, singles, be there this Friday, because we'll be looking at, this is what you've done in the past. If you don't want to repeat what you've done in the past, you must change what you are doing in this new year. So what are those tools? How do we help you? How do we point you to the things that you need to do differently? Because if you don't change it, you will find yourself at the end of the year repeating what you did last year. So for singles, and it's not just for single ladies. So people think that single men don't have issues. They do. What I mean they do is that they are also navigating that landscape. What do I need to know? Because a lot of times the people that we have around us are not giving us exactly the right model to follow, or even those that have gone ahead of us and seem to have a good relationship, they really can't tell you how they got there. So you need to know what are those things you need to do differently this year. How do you need to position yourself, both as a single lady and a single man who is a Christian, who really wants to honor God in their relationship, who understands that their destiny is important and they must do their relationships well. So this Friday, you need to be there. And for married people, I'm going to break it down into different, because we're not looking at just people who are having issues. You want to catch it before the issues begin. Amen. Issues just you don't break, your marriage doesn't just fall down in a year. It's been happening. Sometimes even before you actually did the wedding, during your courtship, things have begun to unfold and it continues to grow. How do we arrest it? How do we change? How do we arrest and change things in the foundations? How do we address issues? So this program, we will be addressing what happens for somebody who is newly wedded for the first 1 to 3 years. What do you need to do? How do you need to position that this year, by the end of the year, you're like, yes, we've done a few things that is changing the trajectory of our lives. We are trying to build for like 50 years. Is our foundation strong enough to carry us for 50 years? You know, you might start and your foundation is just very, very shallow. And then life happens. And then you realize that this foundation is not as strong. How can we help you build and put the right blocks in that foundation so that it can last you as long as you desire for it to last you? Then we're addressing things for engaged couples before you get into marriage. I know your eyes, you know, they love the butterflies and everything, and you're planning, you are getting the clothes, you're getting. Can you get wisdom? It's okay to do all the arrangements, do weddings, spend all day, and you're like, can you also get wisdom that helps you last for that journey you're going for? So that's the kind of, we're going to be talking about what do you need to know as an engaged couple before you start. What are the things I need to have? How do I appropriately prepare? Some people don't go for premarital counseling. Why won't you? But you spend such a long time, so much energy and effort preparing for the wedding, but you don't put enough effort to ensure that your premarital counseling is in place, that you've asked the right questions, you've probed the right things. We're going to be helping you say, do these things is important for you. We're also going to be looking at people that have been married for between 4 and 10 years. What are the peculiarities of what happens in there? And how can you begin to ensure that your marriage is able to stand? Because children come into play. Marriage, you know, families, in-laws, all these things come into play. There's so many things that make a marriage. It's not just about you, me, and your spouse. There's your in-laws, there's your children, there's your work, there's health. So how do you really deal with these things? Where is the resource? Where are the things you can input into your marriage that helps it to stand? So we're going to be looking at, we're focusing on newlyweds, engaged people, you've been married for between 4 and 10. And of course, if you have issues, you know, like we've rightly talked about, don't throw in the towel. Are there things you can actually do? Why don't we, in this first quarter, to the first 6 months, let me make some inputs. Let me see if truly this thing is forgotten. It's really like it's so bad. And even if it is so bad and you want to totally exit, how do you do it without just being peace? Living with pieces? Because what people don't understand is that when you even separate, you don't live as yourself. You're already bound together. Sure. You are living, like, so much happens when you live. There are children involved. Can you at least do it in a way that people are less broken? So there are things that we want to explore this Friday. So please, if you're out there and you're hearing me and it's resonating with you, and for men, I do understand. I totally understand that for men, when you hear anything about counseling, it's like you run away. Yes. No, please don't. We're not talking about counseling. We're talking about how do we ensure that your marriage gives you what you desire. How do you ensure that you are putting your part, the spouse is putting their part, and both of you are working together to achieve what you desire. So this Friday, please, you need to register. Either you register via our WhatsApp line 062-520-2020, or you go to our website, idelight.co.za. It's a ticketed event, and when I mean just an entrance fee, so that we ensure that you're coming through, and it's just 100 rand. So that's your confirmation of attendance, not what you're going to get. The value is like, you know, like hectic, heavy. It changes the trajectory for 2026 in your relationship. So please go over to our website, idelight.co.za. You'll see other things that we have on offer, or you can register for Friday, but also you can do it via WhatsApp line 062-520-2020.